That's a decent fish, mate. So today we are going to talk about a brand new product from Atomic Tackle, and that is the Bait Spike. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into it. Now, this is a product that has been on the cards for about 1.5 years, coming up to 2 years now, and I'm pleased to say that they are finally here. So let's talk about the key features of these Bait Spikes and why they was conceived. They're a little bit of an amalgamation between a maggot ring and the old match hook into a plastic corn variation. But in my opinion, they're a lot quicker and a lot easier without all of the faff, and that's what these was all about doing. So we'll talk about it quickly. There's a couple of reasons why, personally, the maggot ring, in my opinion, is not the one. Can be a little bit unsafe. You've got an exposed point there. And again, the presentation on them, it just doesn't really seem to sit right. And then if you flip it over onto the other side of the coin, you've got the match hook variation, which again, is very quick and easy. It can be a little bit of a faff depending on the pattern of hook that you choose to pull into your corn. And realistically, you're only really going to get 4, maybe 6 maggots at a push onto a small size 12, 14 or 16 hook. So that's why these Bait Spikes come about. Now, the key features of them has to be, number one, the speed. They're so quick and they are so easy to put 8 to 10 maggots onto your rig with ease, and you can simply pull it back into the corn without any faff. Now, there's a couple of aspects to the Bait Spikes that we did that make them extra safe. So if you take the shape, for instance, you've got an open eye, a longer shank, and then a right angle. Now, as long as you thread straight through the center of the corn when you were pulling it onto your hair rig, once you've rigged it all up, you'll pull the Bait Spike straight down to the corn, up to that right angle, and that's going to guarantee every single time that that point is buried into the corn. So when designing the Bait Spike, safety obviously was right at the forefront of the design and development. So there's a few key things in the shape of the spike that make them super safe. So first off, you've got the right angle. So if you go up from the eye, you've got a long shank, and then you've got a right angle bend into the curve, and then it leads down into the point. The point length has been set so that it will always go past the right angle. So as long as you thread straight through the middle of the corn when you're rigging the rig up, once you've baited it, you give it a twist, you pulled it back down into the corn. As long as you pull it up to that right angle, that's going to ensure that that point is always buried into the plastic corn. And then you've got the length of the shank with the eye at the bottom, which will pop out of the corn, and that will prevent the corn from slipping and exposing the spike. So straight away there, we've eradicated that exposed point from the maggot rings. Secondly, the point has been sharpened. So this was to avoid any popping. So when you're fishing with naturals, we all know it can be a little bit of a faff, whether it's worms or maggots. Your needle and your thread, your hands are freezing cold. Sharpening that point means that when you're popping them maggots onto your spike, you can pop on 8 to 10 really quickly and it's not going to burst them, which ultimately you will be left with saggy maggots out in the pond, and you don't want that. So we want nice and fresh ones. That sharpened point ensures that. Another key feature of the Bait Spikes is the open eye. Now, originally these was developed to be fished on a blowback rig. So you would tie them on the end of your hair rig, then you would attach either a rig ring or a bit of shrink tube, and you would fish it blowback style. This will enable you to be able to pull the plastic cord off of the spike, exposing it, give it a twist, and you've got enough length with your hair to pull the corn semi off of the spike onto your hair. However, we left the eye open so you can attach your own metalwork basically. So let's say, for instance, you want to fish it on a slip D presentation. You can pop that eye open a little bit, slip on a rig ring, close it back up with some pliers, and then you can set it up on a slip D presentation. And again, because you can bunch up your D section, you've got enough there to slide your corn down, semi off of your spike onto the D section, rig it up, and then pop it back on. You can also put on a hook bait swivel and fish these on a Ronnie setup. You do have just enough space there to get it off of the spike onto the hook bait swivel, exposing the point to get your maggots on. However, with these Bait Spikes coming supplied in a pack of 6 with 6 perfectly balanced wafting corn, you will have to change your corn over. But that is another great feature of the Bait Spikes. They can be fished on anything. So you can change the corn out and you can fish it with pop-up corn, you can fish it with plastic dumbbells, you can even fish it with your own pop-ups and wafters. So you're not limited to just the corn that comes with these in the pack. So as I mentioned at the start, speed and ease was at the forefront of the development with the Bait Spikes. You can literally rig up 3 rigs in about 3 minutes. It'll take you about a minute a rig. Pop it out, give it a twist, pop the maggots on, give it another twist and pull it back in. So let's face it, we do tend to fish naturals in the colder months. When your hands are freezing cold, it's the middle of the night, you might have had a bite, you've got to get the needle and the floss out. It is a little bit of a faff. So if you have ever been put off by fishing naturals because of them reasons, these literally eradicate that. It is so quick and so easy. So I think now's the perfect time to address the elephant in the room. We have been teasing these out on social since the start of January, and we've received a lot of comments saying that you can just use the match style presentation or you can use your floss and your needles as normal. Now, I'm not denying that, but these are a hell of a lot quicker. You can get more maggots on these than you can with a match hook. And let's face it, we all know needle and floss, it is a little bit of a faff. So lastly, let's touch on the corn that is supplied in the pack with the spike. So you get 6 spikes and 6 corn. That corn is of a semi-buoyant nature, so it has been developed so that it just picks up your hair. Your maggots will waft off the bottom, your hook will lay flat, and again, that's just avoiding the maggots crawling around on the bottom and affecting your presentation or coming back on themselves and re-hooking themselves on your main hook. So we are in the middle of getting this product introduction done. I've literally just had a take on the right-hand rod as we was just about to get some stills and close-ups of tying up the spikes. Just slip that one back and now my left rod's gone. So when we get this one in, we'll have one rod left in the dance floor, but this one actually feels all right, to be fair. It's going off for a nice little winter day session. A little bit of work and a nice bit of sport on the old 10-footers. Yeah, I think she's one of the better ones. She don't want to come up. Oh, mate. Oh. That's a decent fish, mate. Well, happy with that. It's one of the better ones. Go on to Bait Spikez. Oh. Well, the proof's in the pudding. Little day session, get this product introduction done. You tip the scales at just over £35. First proper one from the club lake as well. How about that for a January day session? Get on the Bait Spikez. Quick couple of snaps, we'll slip her back and I'll show you how to tie them Bait Spikez. So let's run through how you attach the Bait Spikez to the blowback presentation. So you take your chosen length of braided hook link, you'll go straight through the middle of the corn with a baiting needle and you'll thread this on to the braided hook link backwards so that the thicker point of the corn is facing the stripped end of the braid. You then take the spike and you tie a 3 or 4 turn grinner knot onto the eye of the spike, pull this down, and then you simply pull the corn up to the right angle and that will bury the spike into the centre of the corn. Then you take a rig ring or a section of silicone tubing, attach that to your hair, then you take your chosen hook and you attach it to the braided hook link with a knotless knot. You can then slide over a kicker, leaving a little strip section at the top of the kicker, which is where you're going to add your putty, finish your rig off, and it's that easy. So I think it's time to stop the teasing. The Bait Spikez are now available at all Atomic retailers and available direct from the Atomic Tackle website at www.atomictackle.co.uk.